ESPN, Rob, it did their list of the best 100 athletes of the 21st century. And here's the top 10. I'll read it backwards, forwards. Number 10, Kobe Bryant. Number 9, Usain Bolt. 8, Tiger Woods. 7, Simone Biles. 6, Roger Federer. 5, Tom Brady. 4, LeBron James. 3, Lionel Messi. 2, Serena Williams. And 1, Michael Phelps. Now, this is important, Rob. Their voters were from around the globe. It was not just American. And you can kind of see, I mean, obviously Phelps with the Olympic accomplishments, Serena Williams in a global sport in tennis, and Lionel Messi in the most important, the biggest sport worldwide, being soccer. So I think that has something to do with it. It's hard to, I think, and we'll get into this more later, I think the only way to really do something like this where you're crossing so many sports is if you're not going to take like the importance of the sport and not to belittle any sports, but I guess I should maybe say the popularity of the sport. Then you almost just got to go by who was the most dominant in their sport. But like I said, we'll get into that later. But what I want to ask you about, because Rob, as you may recall, a few years ago, we here at Fox Sports Radio did the top 20 athletes of the 21st century, or that we called it Who's the Greatest Athlete of the 2000s. And all of our personalities here at Fox Sports Radio did our votes.
I don't even remember that. I do. I kind of remember it, but I don't.
Yeah. So here was our top 5, and it's definitely different from ESPN's. We had Serena Williams 5, Michael Phelps 4, Tiger Woods 3, LeBron James 2, Tom Brady 1. So they had Brady. They had LeBron ahead of Brady. We had Brady ahead of LeBron. This is what I want to ask you. Let's focus on those two. Who would you have higher, whether they're number one or whatever, but who would you have higher, since they're both in team sports, between Brady and LeBron?
Are you ready? Don't faint. LeBron James.
I thought you might go there.
It's LeBron James, Chris, only from one standpoint. He's the all-time leading scorer in the NBA. That's happened most recently. He's got the championships. We already know that. But that's a huge milestone for somebody in their career to be the all-time leading scorer in the sport. And I think that's why he's ahead of Brady, even though Brady's won more championships over LeBron. And I do think that that's what separates them, because the titles, what is it, 4-7 or whatever it is. But Brady didn't win all of those in the right. When did Brady win?
He did win them all in the 2000s.
In the 2000s, was it first one?
Which is what we're talking about, the 21st century.
Yeah, yeah. But I would go with LeBron ahead of Brady in that, for that reason, because of all the numbers, all the stuff that he's done. He's an all-time great. As great as Tom Brady is, he doesn't have any kind of thing to hang his hat on like that. I don't think.
Oh gosh, really?
Yeah, is he the all-time?
What?
Like, aren't there other people who have more passing yards? Or no, he did have the passing yard. No, though. I'm trying to think.
No, you're way
touchdowns.
off on this. He got touchdowns. He's got yards. He's got completions. Look, it pains me to say this because I would love to pick LeBron. I got to put Brady ahead of him, because to the point we just made, Tom Brady is first all time in wins, Pro Bowls, Super Bowl MVPs, completions, passing yards, and passing touchdowns. And then, of course, the biggest to me, and obviously both are team sports, but his 7 Super Bowls is more than any franchise. Like, that is what is a killer. Like, wait a minute. I mean, this guy by himself, I mean, as just his individual wins. I don't mean he did it by himself without a team. But he's won more Super Bowls by himself in his, 23-year career, whatever it was, 24 years, I think. He won more Super Bowls than the Pittsburgh Steelers, the Dallas Cowboys, the San Francisco 49ers. All these great franchises, he won more than all of them. And so I got to give it to him. I mean, and this is honestly neither here nor there. If you're thinking of athlete, and that's why you really can't in a poll like this, but the way we typically think of somebody athletic, right? Speed, size, strength, that type of thing. Obviously, you pick LeBron over Tom Brady. But in something like this, where I think you just have to look at how much a certain individual dominated their sport, because we're talking about different sports. Some of them are solo, some of them are team. I have to put Brady ahead. I just think the way he dominated football was just more so than LeBron.
But I think what you just said, and that's the reason too, and as you can see, most of the players that are above are all individual sport players.
The top two, yeah.
But football is more than just a quarterback, and more than just as well as Brady did, where LeBron has a bigger impact because there's fewer players. And during his heyday or during his run, he had more impact on the game than Brady. Brady, as well as he played, if the defense didn't do this or the defense did that or didn't, it could affect Brady, whereas I think LeBron had a bigger impact. Not as much now, Chris. We talk about it all the time, the impact on winning. But I think that might be the reason why also LeBron gets a nod, because you're talking about 5 players compared to 22 players.
Yeah, I do think a basketball player can have more impact on the game because he plays both sides, offense and defense. There are fewer players. But I would argue, I think the position in football that comes closest to having the impact on the game is quarterback. Quarterback is just, you're touching the ball literally at least every offensive play for your team. And I think, like, while LeBron had an outsized impact on the game, when it came to winning his championships, like, 3 of them or 2 of them came with, a super stacked team in Miami. And then even Cleveland was obviously a big 3 because Kevin Love was a superstar before joining the Cavs, and obviously Kyrie Irving. And then L.A. not as much, but you did still have an Anthony Davis. So I don't think we can, like, if you want to say, well, Brady's defense, which it was great and, really impactful in a lot of those wins, I would say the same thing for LeBron, whether it was Dwayne Wade or Chris Bosh or Kyrie Irving or not really Kevin Love. He didn't do as much in the finals, in the playoffs, in those runs, and Anthony Davis. So I think that, it's not like LeBron just did it by himself, and obviously Brady didn't either. But I just think a guy that won more Super Bowls than any other team in the sport, I got to go with him. And then, like we said, we looked at all the individual records that he has as well. But this will be interesting, Rob. Go ahead.
I just think that there's so fewer players in basketball compared to football. Brady can play well. If the kicker doesn't make a kick, there's so many other arms and elements that it's hard. And I know you count quarterbacks and their Super Bowls, but there's so many more things that are involved. It's just like we talk about in baseball all the time. Barry Bonds can hit 500 in the postseason, Chris, or whatever it is. If the closer can't close out the game, you ain't winning the World Series. It doesn't matter what you've done.
Baseball, I think, is the least amount of impact of the 3
You just can't. There's nothing you can
right.
do, right? There's nothing you can do if so I think that might have something to do with it. But anyway, there we go.